So we are at Panasonic stand on InstallerSHOW. We will now talk about heat pump, especially M generation Panasonic heat pump. We will have separate panel and long video about all of the details behind technology, but currently we want to show some details behind this unit. So Nathan, we are here in front of M generation, M series, which is, what are the capacities, what are the benefits of this unit and so on?
So if we look at the M series T-cap unit, first of all, we do make them quite a few different sizes. The model that we are looking at here, we do have it in a 9, 12 and 16 kilowatt. But in actual fact, we do another model, which is the next size up to this, which we do in a 20, 25 and 30 kilowatt. The main thing about these units, as in T-cap, which stands for total capacity, what this means is, if I give you a 9 kilowatt T-cap, of course that's normally rated at plus 7 degrees. In actual fact, if it does drop down to minus 15, minus 20, you're still going to get that 9 kilowatt capacity. You don't lose any of the efficiency in the drop-offs from the unit.
So this is quite important, especially I can say in big units, because if you have commercial project and you have, let's say, 30 kilowatt heat loss at -5, you need to buy probably 40 kilowatt or 45 some heat pump from another manufacturer or another type. But with this unit, you have 30 kilowatt and that's it. So even this is really important because of, especially also defrost in the UK. This is quite good. What is your feedback and experience? Is T-cap and these big T-caps are going on, and what is the feedback from designers and installers?
But the feedback to it has been fantastic. So we released these units now just over a year ago. It was actually a year ago at the show. And it's that same. When you start looking at placements of these units, which is what most people start struggling with, when they start moving over to renewable, they need to find a place to install some large volume heat pumps. Most people go to your commercial, your hydronic units, which are big units. When you look at the footprints of this and the big M, they're quite slim. They don't take much room up. So you can just drop these, for example, if you're doing an apartment block, drop them on the bottom, on the ground floor, next to where, let's say, a bin store might be, or them kind of things. It doesn't look out of place, and you don't need to worry about putting anything else all around. So yeah, positive has been fantastic, especially the capacities in the units and the performance that we've got, all the stats coming back in. It's where they need to be.
And behind moving on next part, I want to highlight why T-cap technology is quite unique, because you have two expansion valves. Usually, if you are doing heating in the UK, especially, you are not so into the refrigerant part. But refrigerant part, when it's colder, let's say -1, -2, -3, we are stealing this heat from refrigerant to second expansion valve. And from my experience, software behind this is quite intelligent.
Yes. So that's exactly what it is. And that's what you need to do to make this happen. Because everything is in that refrigerant side of it. When they start coming through, that's where you start seeing your performance drop-offs, and if you don't take it into account, they'll just keep going and going and going. So when we start looking at innovating these products, that's where we start spending a lot of time looking. Because even though we have a T-cap, we have a T-cap in R32, we have a T-cap in R290, but we have to do it slightly different ways just because how the refrigerants act. So it's something that you always need to keep a look on, keep an eye on, and see how we can keep on improving it.
So we are now moving on next part. One thing is just this unit. You can buy the unit and that's it. But now we will show you what are different and flexible options with additional equipment. So we explained what is the unit itself. Now we will show you more about flexible solutions and how you can connect this outdoor unit with different modules and options. Nathan, we have here control module, thermostat. So what is the difference and what is the option?
So what we wanted to do with the M series was make a solution that can be technically modular. You can build it how you want to be it. So for example, if you've got a 9 kilowatt T-cap, or it might be a 30 kilowatt T-cap, you put it on a large volume house, you might only want the remote control. So from that, we've got the remote control going to the unit, and that's going to power it. So quite a nice basic install. If we want to take it up a notch, so to a more advanced, so we want to start putting solar integration in, multiple zones, smart grid, you name it, then we can jump up to this. So this is the control module, so we can put it in the cylinder cupboard or either a plant room, and then we can start putting the wire into this. What this enables us is to still have that one comms wire going to the unit, so reducing all the amount of units going out, but still having a nice, clean, neat install that's offering advanced options. We also have another two options, which is called a bi-block and an all-in-one. So your bi-block is where we can put your electrical backup heaters in your expansion vessels, all these kind of bits, and your all-in-one incorporates that 185-litre cylinder in. We also do smaller ranges, higher ranges in this. So you can really go, for this installation, I'm going to pick this module and can connect it to this heat pump. So it's providing that solution that you want without having to buy any extra bits that you don't need.
So I want to mention also one thing. When we are talking about heat pumps, usually we are talking about smart control and modulation. And if you install some third-party thermostat, you don't have this. But with Panasonic, if you have two zones, let's say you have radiators and underfloor heating, which is different temperatures, you can buy additional controller and you can have smart control from heat pump itself. How you can say this is important, because brain of heat pump is controlling this, and you don't have master and slave, you have two independent zones.
Yeah. And it is exactly that point. So at the minute, especially when we do start putting additional thermostats on, a lot of the time they're just switching on and off. So you lose that efficiency straight away. So once we can control it from our own manufacturer's controls, we've got the full brains of the heat pump controlling that system. Now we do have systems out there that we are working with, such as Tado, which we can dial in to provide that enhanced solution, but they're very few and far between right now. And Tado is really one that we are working with and partnered with to provide a more enhanced feature.
And the last point, if you need more units, so usually you need, 100, 200, 300 kilowatts, you need to control this unit in some way. Here you will see Cascade controller. This is just like electrical, and let's say from control point of view, what can you say about this? What you need if you want to control more heat pumps? And what are the capacities?
So when we actually start looking at the Cascade Edge, what we are going to be doing here is really cascading these units together. So for example, if I've got my 30 kilowatt, I can put 10 of them together to give you a 300 kilowatt output. The good thing with the Cascade Edge is going to start looking at these units and going to go, do you know what? I've been using unit 1 for a while, so I'm now going to switch to unit 2. So it doesn't prioritize one, it's sharing that demand out. So it's saying right now I only need X, so I'm going to give you that. And that's all powered from that Cascade controller.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you. And as you can see, a lot of flexible options. Whatever you want, whatever you imagine, you can find here.